Hey everyone, Bob,
Misty.
Misty, that's our names. And today is our adopted son's fourth birthday. He is now 4 years old as of today. And we just thought that we would share some thoughts, sort of, sort of in honor of him, and just so we can record some ideas that we've had and really for us to look back maybe 10 years from now or 15 years from now and for him to see how he's impacted our lives and things. So since he's 4, we came up with basically 4 things that you should know before you adopt a child. And so 4 things that you gain, or sorry, 2 things that you gain and 2 things that you're going to lose. And so the first thing is you're going to have some memory loss. So it's hard to imagine life without Jay. You know, he's lived with us for 2 years out of those 4 years that he's been alive, and honestly, it's pretty hard to even remember past 2 years ago of what life was like without him. So it's pretty humbling, awesome thing to have him as our son, and it's one of those things that you'd never want to change, but was extremely scary in the process.
Yeah, he just kind of came to live with us, and then we never looked back and never even doubted really whether he was our son. It just felt like he was kind of our son from the beginning, and you kind of just forget that he wasn't naturally born to you, and it's pretty awesome because from the outside looking in, it's hard to even imagine, bringing a kid into your home that, you forget that he's not your biological child, but it absolutely happens, and it happens pretty quickly. You just kind of assimilate and then just keep moving, and you look back 2 years later and can't really remember not always having him. And his brothers and sisters don't really know life before Jay, and it's a pretty beautiful thing. And so now, I mean, why not just adopt more kids, because you get amnesia. So if it worked for Jay, it could work for others, right?
Moving on. So the next thing you need to know right before you adopt a child is you're going to lose some sleep. Um, you know, if you've had your own children or had to deal with a baby, you know you're going to lose some sleep because they're awake, right? But adopting a child that's a little bit past the infant stage, still going to lose some sleep, right? And so, well, Jay physically kept us up quite a few nights in the beginning, but
He liked to wander around and wake everyone else up. That was
yeah,
fun.
yeah, he did. But really, the nights that I personally, I mean, Misty might be different, but that I personally lost the most sleep were some of those nights waiting before the court hearing, before the judge's verdict, and the anticipation. You know, some nights were worrisome of you losing sleep for worry, and some nights were losing. That's the dog.
Reba.
Losing sleep
Goddamn.
from the excitement and anticipation of what's to come. And honestly, there's some. The kids are all asleep, and we have one dog, and the dog is making noise. Like, seriously, can we not have 5 minutes
Never.
of silence in our house?
Never.
So,
Just try and eat the cabinet. Get a
anyways.
puppy when you have a million kids too. That's
Jeez.
always a good idea. Sorry.
Almost caught. Yeah. But
Sidetracked.
then there's the doubt. Like, hey, am I going to be a good parent to him? Am I going to be able to take care of him? What are we going to do in the future? All these questions that we don't have answers for still. Like, hey, how are we going to answer questions? Where's my baby pictures? But it's all been well worth it, and so losing sleep's a small price.
Ever. I think one of the coolest things we've ever done is sit in a courtroom full of people who love us and support us in front of a judge, and walking out with a birth certificate and just the realization that you have added another child to your home, and you didn't even have to do the labor really. So that's kind of a perk as well. But
Why don't you take the next one?
so something that you will also gain through adoption is compassion. Compassion, excuse me, and mercy are some things that I kind of struggle with, honestly. But it's pretty crazy to come into an adoption and love a child so much, but yet still have compassion for his birth family or his birth parents. There are many days where I think about Jeremiah's birth mom and like, does she even know that it's his birthday today? Does she miss him? Does she wonder how he's doing? So it's crazy because you do gain compassion for people who are caught up in addiction or caught up in a relationship or whatever it may look like, that you wouldn't normally feel sorry for. But the Lord just kind of gives you insight into how to love people that are not necessarily easy to love and who aren't making good decisions. So it's surprising how much you really do gain compassion not only for your kid but for their birth families as well.
And so the fourth thing, right? So we, you have memory loss and loss of sleep, but you gain a whole different understanding of compassion. And the fourth thing is you gain a deep understanding of the gospel, right? Of that gift that is offered by God through Jesus in Galatians 4, chapter 4, verses 4 through 7. God sent his son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those under the law, that we might receive adoption to sonship, because you are his sons. And so you can read that a lot, but it's a whole new understanding when you think of just the earthly adoption process, and you see a judge, and that judge makes a verdict, and he gives new life, he gives a new family, and bestows that upon us, upon a child. And now our son is part of our inheritance of our physical stuff here, right? And is a part of our life. And how much greater is it to be called or given an inheritance of the creator of the universe? So today, there's Jay on the wall behind us. Love him.
This picture needs to be bigger. I feel like the other pictures are bigger. Just his head was so.
He's got a big
his head looked so big. I thought it was gonna. So we have pictures of our kids on the wall over there, and I thought Jeremiah's picture was going to be big enough because his head is rather large, but probably could have gone a size bigger on the canvas. But yeah, just adoption in biblical terms, and then adoption in a worldly sense. There's so many similarities, and like you don't even realize that you're an orphan. And when I think of an orphan, I just think of hopelessness. And as a sinner without Christ, we really, we have no hope. We chase worldly hopes and worldly pleasures, and it's a temporary fix. But it's just how much joy comes in knowing that we have a Savior that has adopted us and calls us His own. So being able to take a child who has an uncertain future and came out of a situation that hopefully he won't remember, just kind of parallels into our own lives and how many of us come from a past or a childhood or young adult years that we regret or don't necessarily, that we're not proud of, but have a new life and are a new creation in Jesus. So just like Jeremiah has a new name and is a new creation with a new family. So it's
not that we're comparing ourselves to God. Just throwing that out.
No, I didn't mean. Did I do that? I didn't. Thanks.
So,
just edit all of
happy
that.
birthday, Jay. We love you.
Love you, JJ.
Thank you for being part of our lives.